Welcome everybody to Real Dudes Podcast. Today we have a special guest on the show today. It is Israel Wright.
You're too kind.
Oh, it's all good. So you may know him from YouTube Gameology, doing some React. You may have even seen him on Twitch. But today we're gonna have a nice little interview of how he got started. So how are you doing today, Israel?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. As I'm sure you know, you were there. I just had a great stream this morning. That was a lot of fun. We started playing Subnautica, so it was good. It was a good time.
Yeah, and lots of gifting going on too.
Oh my gosh, that was really kind of unprecedented. It was really, for those that don't know, I mean, like you can give gift subs on Twitch, and so that we had quite a few generous people come in and drop some like 10 and 20 gift sub bombs, and I was very overwhelmed. I had my hands on my head in disbelief for long periods of time. Like I asked Ellie Bell is a friend of mine and who's influenced me a lot in my streaming career. And I, sometimes you get that kind of imposter syndrome where you think like, why are they giving me these? They don't give me money. I'm not doing anything. But she reminded me that like what you're doing, you're already giving them something. They're giving something back to you. It's not like they're paying you like, all right, make me entertain now. You're already doing something beneficial to them. It's why they gave the gift sub. So,
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
yeah,
You're already
yeah,
putting it out there.
yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. So, how long has like your video game playing history gone? Is this like a recent thing or is this?
Oh man, playing video games?
Yeah.
I've been playing video games since I was like 4 years old, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, I remember I think the very first video game that I think I ever played. Somebody asked me this on stream today. Actually, they were like, "What's the first game you ever played?" And I think it was like Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man. It was an arcade tabletop game, and it was at a pizza place that was just down the street from where I grew up, kind of just outside Lancaster, California. And I remember that very distinctly. I remember looking down, and having the joystick and stuff like that, and I've been going to arcades, remember when arcades were a thing, back before they came back and became arcades.
I was about to say they came back a little bit.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And I appreciate that. But yeah, that was like the first game I ever played. But I mean, like the first system I ever got was a Nintendo, an NES classic NES system. Yeah.
Here we
Old
go.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had Zelda, we had Mario Brothers, Excite Bike, what is it? What's the ice one? Ice Climbers.
Yep, Ice Climbers.
Yeah, Ice Climbers. Yeah, all those classic games and stuff. So yeah, I've been a gamer from not way back because I suppose I played a little bit of like Atari, 2600, 3600, whatever like that. But that was always somebody else's system that I was like playing at their house, But the NES was like the first one, and then yeah, I mean. It was, NES. I had a TurboGrafx 16 back in the day. I never got the Sega. The Sega was always like the grass is greener on the other side system. I'm like, I always want a Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, and I never could get the Sega. I always had the Nintendo. I had a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I had a TurboGrafx 16, and then I graduated to the PlayStation 1, and then I've been a PlayStation guy ever since,
Okay, wow. Yeah, Sega, I'll say the controller for Sega, man, it's different. It's very different when you hold it.
It is. It feels different today. Like it felt different when your hand to a 10-year-old's hands or a 15-year-old's hands, it feels very different,
Yeah, it was kind of like the first Xbox, the first generation Xbox. If you ever had that controller, that beefy thing.
Yeah,
like a 12, 13-year-old, that's like, why would you need this? Whose hands are this big?
Right. It was a little forward thinking, I think, because now I feel it. Now I hold it in my hands. I'm like, I get it. It like fills up the hand. You're not like crimping, But back in the day, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like this isn't made for a 12-year-old,
No.
The average 12-year-old. Not saying there aren't 12-year-olds with big hands out there. I don't want to for all the big-handed audience members out there.
Yeah. Gotcha. Calling out a whole audience there.
Yeah, right. We just lost them all.
Oh boy. Oh well. We got a few minutes in. That's okay. That's
right.
Enough.
That's right. That's all we needed for the algorithm, the listens.
Exactly. And then, so did you miss the Sonic train then? Since you didn't get to say
Yeah, I missed the Sonic train. I missed the Halo train when it first came out. I missed a lot. I kind of I jumped around. I moved around a lot when I was younger. And then at a certain point, both parents, my parents got divorced when I was at a young age. So I moved back and forth between the two. And then they never had a lot of money. So I had that Super Nintendo for a long time, and that was it.
Okay.
And then eventually the PlayStation came along, but it was always other people buying me the games and not me buying the games. I didn't have a job for all the way through high school and stuff. I didn't have any money, and I was never good with it when I did. So, but yeah, I missed the Sonic stuff, all the Genesis stuff, all the Sega stuff going up. I did have a Dreamcast though. I had a
Okay.
Dreamcast in college, and so I got in on that game. I had Seaman and a couple other ones. That was fun. That didn't last very long. Crazy Taxi was like the big one on that one for me. I was
Ooh.
living with some other guys in college, and that was the fun one to drive around and do the Crazy Taxi stuff. So, but so yeah, I jumped around a lot, and then Xbox. Yeah, a lot of X. I've never owned an Xbox, but I've played certain games for it.
Hmm.
So Halo, I missed out on a lot. I played Knights of the Old Republic. That was the big one for me on Xbox. I played that on an Xbox. I've been a console gamer most of my life. It's only
Hmm.
this last year when I really started getting dedicated to streaming that I decided to get a PC, and then I kind of went all in, and I spent a bunch of money just to get like a nice setup and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha. So why the change from like console to PC? Was it just like the game availability or?
Oh, it was. I think it was just a versatility for streaming. There's a lot more tools that you can have, like OBS and Streamlabs OBS, and all the programs you get, all the bells and whistles and stuff like that, and better mic and cameras and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just. I feel like a console is like living in an apartment, and then like a PC is like living in a house. You get a lot more options. There's a lot more upkeep. There's a lot more responsibility, but you do have a lot more options to upgrade and remodel and stuff like that. So
Oh, for sure. So
I didn't even know the whole console and PC thing was really confusing to me. But now I kind of see, like it is like a console's. I mean, it's basically a computer, right?
yeah.
Nowadays, the consoles are, and they're getting more and more versatile and stuff like that. But when somebody asks me like, do you play it on PC or console? I actually that's still, I guess maybe for mods and stuff like that for PC for certain games it would be better. But I'm like,
Mm.
what's the difference if I play Battlefield on a PC or a console, and stuff. So I'm learning a lot, about the whole PC world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. When I first started like just building PCs and stuff, um, I didn't really get the whole difference between the console and PC version. This was like, I'd say, between 2010, 2013. And it
Hmm.
wasn't until that point where like my brother would buy a game on Xbox and then I'd buy the same one on PC, and then we would compare how they would look. And we started to
Hmm.
find that at that time, PC had sharper graphics and textures than any console. But as of recently, it's kind of balanced out a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
from what I
I
can tell.
heard that I heard that Xbox is done making consoles like that. The Xbox Series X is going to be their last console that they're going to make, and they're just going to do. It's going to be like streaming stuff and PCs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of what they said about Windows 10, and now we have Windows 11 drop in here in a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. This
So
one has an 11 on the box.
yeah. Yes. So we'll see. It'll be
Mhm.
interesting. Well, cool. So got the switch to PC, and then how long have you been streaming on Twitch?
My first stream, Amy, Daddy's Warhorse, my main mod and best friend, would say I think it's February 19th, 2019 was the first stream I ever did,
Okay.
like ever, and that was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was on my PlayStation in the living room, and I just wanted to try it. I got a cheap old PlayStation camera, and I had a mic and stuff like a headset, so I just did it. I didn't do it consistently and stuff, but the official anniversary of when I started a dedicated stream schedule is March of 2020. And I
Okay.
actually started at the beginning of the month. I actually started it before everything got shut down that first time. And so I'm glad I did, because I didn't have a whole lot to do at that time. So, but yeah, March of 2020.
Okay. Nice. And then when you started streaming, what kind of challenges did you face just starting out?
Just starting out. I mean, really trying to like the one of the biggest challenges was like being authentic and staying true to what I wanted to do, and sticking to the things that I could control. When you kind of put like your results and some of your goals can be like, I want to get this many viewers, or I want to reach this many subs or this many followers. A lot of that is outside your control when you're streaming. You just do what you do, and if people want to follow you, they follow you, and if they don't, they don't. There could be any number of reasons why someone follows or unfollows, you know. So to stay focused on what I could control, my two big things are being authentic and having fun. You know, if I choose a game, I want to choose a game that I'm having fun with. If I'm talking to somebody or interacting with chat, I want to be just authentic, and I don't want to try to put on a show. No, I don't want to put on a show in that, you know, like what I'm doing to get people to like me or to get people to stay or whatever. Like I don't put up, it's a good habit to like, I don't put up my viewer count on my OBS, you know, or on Twitch. You know, I don't know how many people are watching me at any given time because I'm just doing what I'm doing, you know, and if people want to stay, they stay. And if they want to go, they can go, and it's all good, you know? So that was one of the big ones. You know, when I actually started trying to keep a consistent schedule January of 2020, and I stopped for a while. I did it for January and I stopped for the month of February because I realized what a time commitment it was. And so I had to take a step back, and I took February off, and I was like, do I really want to do this? You know? And so I made the decision in March to, you know, it's a big time commitment. I only stream 15 hours a week, and I can't imagine being a full-time streamer because I fancy myself a content creator, so I want to make YouTube videos and podcasts and all that kind of stuff, and that all takes time to create and all that kind of stuff and put out there. And I'm not even doing like editing and stuff right now. I have Amy's my main editor right now for that, you know. So the time commitment, you know, and working all that into my schedule, that still remains a challenge and stuff. I'm trying to offload this, that, and the other thing, just so I can leave time to like I gotta write a podcast episode after this, you know.
Ooh.
So it's the time thing, and then, you know, being authentic and stuff like that. And then when I got a computer, that's like, it is like a house in that there's so many responsibilities and so many different nooks and crannies and things that you have to consider. Technology programs, you know, I owned a Mac up until that point, like a laptop. And that was about as savvy as I was on a computer, you know. And so learning all I still have so much to learn, you know, when it comes to, I can get myself off the ground, and I can press the stream button, and I can do a few of the overlays and stuff like that. But other than that, you know, and also I think one of the challenges, speaking of that, is to be at peace with the journey and like understanding that there will always be something more to learn. There's no there's no arriving. You'll never have achieved or learned everything there is to know about streaming. It's always just a constantly evolving thing. And I like lists. I like checking blocks off. I like being done with things, you know. So creating that structure in my mind of being like, this was good today because I got this done. And even though I have 10 more things to do tomorrow, I can rest for today, you know.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. It's actually very good advice, just to do what you want to do, have fun with it. Don't do something just because everybody else is, because if you're not having fun, then, you know, that's not gonna make people want to come or even stay.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so we got those, and then now that you have a nice little following on Twitch, you have a pretty nice little community. So can you talk about how you set the tone for the kind of stream that you would like, and then also the kind of people that even come in?
Yeah. I mean, you know, everything I do, like, I'm a Christian, and so everything I do, I want to come, that whole authenticity thing, like the TOS and the rules that we come up with, I want to be an outgrowth of that kind of stuff, the principles that I live in my life. And, you know, that's kind of like, that helps to set the tone. So like, you know, we're very wholesome. We don't allow any cursing or anything like that. You know, dang and heck is about as bad as we get on the stream, you know.
That's good.
Yeah. And of course, you know, some of the big ones, which, you know, should be standard, you know, but maybe aren't uniformly across, like, you know, we don't, no harsh language. There's no sexualized language whatsoever about men or women, you know. There's, you know, being polite, being respectful. You know, we don't talk about politics on the stream. I am involved in my own way in the political realm, you know, and stuff, but I don't talk. That doesn't belong on stream. You know, there's other places for that, and you know, it can be, it's passionate and it can be divisive, or it can be helpful, but it's just not, my stream is not the place for that. You know what I mean? And so little things like that. And then also being sticking to my guns when it comes to things. I slip up sometimes, and my mods and Amy are very good at like. Remember, you said you weren't going to allow that, or because I'll slip up sometimes, and they're good at like. So having dedicated mods that will remind me and keep me on track, that really helps. And once that kind of core group of friends, and happy fam members kind of once they kind of stay and more people kind of start coming in, it really starts to support itself. Like there's been things that, like on the Discord in particular, where I haven't been around and somebody will say something, cursing or sexual or political, and other members of the community will be like, that's not allowed here, and that's really really cool. So this community starts to kind of uh, self-correct, and stuff like that. And all you got to do, or what I try to do is I just try to be consistent. I try to keep interacting. I try to keep being available and of service to people. And I think, eventually the right kind of people will eventually stay, because who knows how many hundreds of people have come into the stream and been like, no, this isn't for me, or this, I want something different, and I'll never know. And it doesn't matter in the long run and stuff, but the right kind of people will stay as long as you can create like just a clear message and you can be consistent with that, with maintaining the TOS and stuff like that.
Well, nice. And it does really help because a lot of people are just looking for a spot to just hang out and chill out because
Right.
there's a lot of things going on around the world. We're aware of what's going on, but it's just nice
Yes.
to
Yeah,
have a little break.
exactly.
So good. And so, can you talk a little bit too about how you also manage interacting with people who are watching the stream? Because you have Twitch, you have YouTube. Do you have any other spots where people are coming in to chat?
Not right now. Actually, I think on YouTube, I think we actually stopped chat. I think we turned it off because it was becoming. I'm multi-stream on Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. I want to actually do more platforms just because I want to create a bigger footprint. But for now, as much as I can, I want to point people to, if they want to interact, I want to point them to the Twitch chat. They can like hop in from there. And the other ones, it'll be just kind of like it's a TV show that you're just watching. So yeah, that's for now. It's just the Twitch chat stuff, and I think one of the reasons I wanted to multi-stream is I just want to create that bigger presence. The internet's such a big place, and there's I think I heard the number. There's 9.5 million streamers on Twitch.
That many?
Yeah, and I mean now most a very minuscule amount of those are actually kind of get those numbers up there, like the what is it? What's his name? XQC, that guy, and then Twit and Ninja and all. No, Ninja left. Did he leave? A
Well,
couple people just left.
man, I'm not sure because, to be honest, in my Twitch realm, it's like really small people
Right, right.
that I
Me
follow. So
too.
I don't know anybody that's high up there.
Yeah,
To be
Professor
honest.
Broman is probably the biggest one. Dan's Gaming. I mostly try to watch those guys because they have been streaming for a long time and they have good standards and practices that I want to kind of. It's good to watch people that are like bigger than you so that you can kind of like try to ascertain like why are they successful? Why are they getting these numbers and stuff? Because it doesn't seem maybe at first glance that they're doing anything different than I'm doing.
Right? Yeah.
So it's good to watch those guys for that reason. But yeah, and then I've been listening to, I don't know if you know who Devin Nash is. Devin Nash
I've heard the name a
does
couple of times thrown out there.
yeah, he doesn't stream anymore, but he mostly just does YouTube videos, and he's like, he owns an agency and he does like marketing analysis and branding analysis and ad, all that kind of stuff. And so he looks at the numbers and stuff, and who knows what the future of streaming is. You think Twitch is so huge right now, but it seems like the higher ups, maybe in Twitch, maybe just you hear a lot of problems, maybe it's just because they're big and
Hmm.
there's just a lot to do and things fall through the cracks. But you also hear about YouTube gaming. He talks very highly about YouTube gaming and how the CEO is like, he interacts with people on Twitter and he really seems to have a different mindset about how to grow, and YouTube's a different environment. So it's not just Twitch, it's just the live streaming. YouTube has the videos, obviously. That's what it's
Hmm.
known for. But they also have YouTube gaming and they also have, a couple other tools that content creators can make. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not like ever like super married to one kind of platform because I want to be able to move and pivot if I need to, because I want content creation to be my career for the rest of my life, So it's time to really like learn how it all works, in depth, So
Oh, cool. Yeah, getting the tools for success there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, nice. So we talked a lot about Twitch. Now the question that most people are going to be wondering, really, and I'm even wondering it myself, is one day you and Cameron Fath somehow appear on Gameology. How in the world did that happen?
Oh,
Was it
yeah,
just
that's
like sitting at somewhere and just get a phone call like, "Hey, you want to come on?"
well, sort of. There's an organization out here in Los Angeles called VME. It's Veterans in Media and Entertainment, and it's a great advocacy group for veterans, current and former military. They do a lot of different programs and classes to help out military people break into the industry. Writers, producers, actors, directors, all that kind of stuff, and it's a good organization, And I think that they are based elsewhere and stuff, but LA is kind of where they got their start. But yeah, I know I had a contact in there, and I got a email one day saying, hey, they're doing this. You want to do like a video game review thing, And I was like, that sounds great. I was in the military and I love video games, so. And Cameron got the same. He got the same call, or he got the same email. And so we met up. I think the first time we filmed was like June or July of last year, 2020. Man, it was just the rest is history. Cameron's a great guy, and he and I really vibe, and I consider him a friend at this point. And we really had really good chemistry, and we loved doing it. So they just kept on calling us back, and I think our videos, not to boast or anything, but like I think our videos are one of the more popular reaction videos that we get on Gameology, and there's like 30 plus videos of us on there right now, which is
Yep.
really weird, But yeah, that's how I kind of got started. And then now, Cameron and I have a podcast as well. It's called the Pop Culture Field Manual. And we just talk about the crazy intersection of military and entertainment, And it's a lot of fun. He comes onto the stream sometimes. He's doing school right now at the time of this recording, but he's got a lot on his mind. But who knows what will happen in the future. We definitely want to keep working together and creating cool stuff for everybody to enjoy, from the kind of military entertainment perspective. So
Nice. So how did you guys start that podcast? Was it somewhere like in the middle of filming Gameology stuff that you're like, hey, we got this idea that we want to do? Or
yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Actually, somebody approached us who had seen the videos and just reached out to us. He's like, you guys have this really great chemistry. Have you guys ever thought about doing a podcast? And I had never thought about it because I didn't know anything about podcasting at the time. I know a tiny bit more now, but still not very much. And he's like, hey, I would love to partner with you guys. And so we got together and had a few meetings and stuff, and we got the equipment together. We actually film it in my living room right now. If you watch the videos on YouTube, that's my living room. We put some lights up, put a table up, and bring my chairs out. We just talk about whatever. So that was really cool. I really, out of the three things that I'm trying to do right now, the streaming, the YouTube, and the podcast, I mean, it's a run and gun battle for which is my favorite between streaming and podcast, because I really like doing the podcast. It's just like this. It's just me and Cameron just hanging out, talking about stuff. We do a little bit of prep beforehand about what we're going to talk about, and then we just let it fly. And so, I think, as far as beginnings of podcasts go, I don't have much to compare it to, but I think it's doing pretty well so far. So.
yeah, it looks like it's doing pretty well. Because I don't really listen to too many podcasts because it's just my own thing. I'm more of a visual kind of guy anyway.
Yeah.
But the first episode that I watched, you guys, the first one that you guys had uploaded, I was like, I'll give it about 10 minutes, and if it's not going where I think I want it to go, then I'm just gonna head out.
Yeah.
And eventually, I'm like 3-4 videos in. By the time I catch up, I'm like, that's actually pretty good.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad you enjoy it, man. It's in a constantly evolving art form, so hopefully it'll get better and better.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you guys talking about like Star Trek and Star Wars and like Lord of the Rings and things like that. I'm like, man, I would have never guessed.
I know the Army takes all kinds, man. Like Cameron's got. People have listened to it. He's got the Balrog tattoo on his forearm. And then I grew up watching Star Trek and Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So.
So what's your favorite Star Trek film then? We're gonna
Favorite Star
go.
Trek film?
Yeah,
Man,
going off script is a touch. That's okay.
yeah, that's all right. No, I love it. I love going off script for the sake of Star Trek is worthy. Now are we talking like of all the films that have been made? Like
Of all the
okay,
films, yeah. I
man.
don't
I mean,
discriminate here.
right, exactly. We take all kinds here. I mean, I suppose because I grew up watching The Next Generation, like the First Contact is really good. I thought that was fun. I love Alice Krige as the Borg Queen, and they did a good job of emphasizing Data and Picard are my two favorite characters from the series. So I love that they had that, and Patrick Stewart's just such a phenomenal actor. I mean, like I guess just to be like a follower and a pogue, like the Wrath of Khan is amazing.
Yep. Okay, there you go.
But I didn't grow up watching. Yeah, yeah. It's get that out there. My bona fides,
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up watching the classic series, and so I'm sure when that movie came out, the fans of that series, when like Spock dies and stuff like that, it affects me, and I can't imagine what it must have been like watching that in the theaters and stuff like that. So that's definitely a fun one. I remember going to the theater, like I think the first Star Trek movie I saw was The Voyage Home, where they go back in time and get the whales,
Yeah.
and I thought that was super cool because I'm like time travel and there's whales in it and stuff like that. So yeah, probably First Contact is probably in my heart, and then just so I can keep my nerd card, Wrath of Khan.
Okay. Yeah, that was the first one I actually saw because
Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, Wrath of Khan was the first one I ever saw.
How old were you when you saw that?
Oh man, I don't know, 8, 9.
Okay,
when
wow.
I first saw it. Yeah, because we had my cousin that actually no, he doesn't live up in Akron anymore, but my cousin, when we would always go up to their house, maybe once twice a year, we'd always have this DS9 marathon, so we would just watch a lot of DS9. So I got into Star Trek just watching that a little bit, and a little here and there from my dad, and then it got to a point where my dad was like, "Okay, it's time to introduce you to the movie." So that was like the first one we had, and we had like a viewing party. Like we had, I'd say about 2-3 families over just to watch the Wrath of Khan.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a whole big thing. I remember.
That's awesome.
So it was a nice night. So that was my first introduction to like the films, and then it wasn't until recently where I started watching The Next Generation, because a lot of people say that's a really good one, and it is. I'm about 5-6 seasons in. It's really good. I really like The Next Generation. Saw a little bit of Voyager, and watched DS9 through about 3-4 times now.
DS9 was great, man. They really kind of went for like some real serious and kind of darker stuff, especially after the war started with the Dominion. I thought, in my opinion, like Voyager had its moments, some really good episodes that I can remember, but all in all, it didn't really grab me, kind of like Next Generation did.
Yeah. I will say it took a lot longer to get into DS9 The Next Generation, because DS9 is a pretty slow start.
Yeah,
it's like the second or third season.
Second or third season. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, before things really pick up. Whereas Voyager's like it takes off.
Yeah,
immediately. But yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, let's. Okay, we'll probably have to edit.
Thoughts on Enterprise? I didn't really. I got about a season into Enterprise, and life took over. I moved around. I think I was in college and stuff like that. But that one kind of doesn't get a lot of love. One thing, I went to a convention once in Denver, and the guy who played the Doctor, I forget his name on Enterprise.
Because was that the Doctor that was also in like Stargate Atlantis? He played like a half wraith.
Oh, I don't know. I never watched the Stargate series.
Yeah. Looks like so that's all the time. I'm just kidding.
You know what? Get out.
No. But yeah, if you have time, yeah, definitely check out the Stargate series. I mean, Atlantis is my favorite. Still working through SG-1 for the first time, but
okay. Oh, by the way, sorry, just to finish the thought.
Yes. So yeah,
I saw him, that guy, at a convention, and he mentioned that back in the DS9 days and the Next Generation days, the episodes were like 50 minutes long, 50, 52, 53 minutes long. By the time they got to Enterprise, they were about 38 minutes long or 39 minutes long. Like there was a lot of commercials, but so that you think, remember, like they would have an A storyline and a B storyline. You know what I mean? They'd have a lot going on per episode,
Yeah.
and sometimes just character development storylines. It didn't have any effect on the major storyline, but you get to Enterprise, and it's like that really does affect how much story you can tell. I just remember that being a really interesting point he made.
Okay. Yeah. I only got 3 episodes in to Enterprise. It's just taking a little longer. Like I like the
Mm-hmm.
idea of the formation of Starfleet and how
Mm-hmm.
that all got together and their SOPs that they're trying to get into place. Uh, but yeah, I just couldn't hold on. Just something about it. I gotta get back into it. Gotta try it again. All right, and then okay, so we talked about the podcasts and that good stuff. Fantastic. Um, and then just a smidge a bit about, what are some of your most favorite of games of all time? I'll say of all time, maybe not of
Of all
recently,
time,
but of all time. Like, what are some of your tops?
tops. Chrono Trigger's the first one that comes to mind.
Oh wow, okay, starting off
Yeah,
strong.
Super Nintendo. Yeah, I'm trying to work my way forward in terms of my timeline and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of like regular Nintendo games. Like Metroid was fun because I
Hmm.
didn't back in the old days. I didn't beat a lot of games. I would play them for a long time, but then they'd get to a difficulty level, and I just would stop playing because I couldn't beat it. Metroid
Right.
was one of those classic Nintendo games that I actually beat, and remember feeling very proud about that. And then about like it had a great replay value, because then you could get like she has the suit off, and you find it, Samus is a woman, which was like an awesome like reveal kind of at the end. Yeah, blow my mind. But Chrono Trigger. And then working forward, I remember the first time I played the Resident Evil 1, and
Hmm.
just what an amazing experience that was. Final Fantasy 7, kind
Yep.
of one of the obvious big ones, but it just has that place in your mind. Uh, and then it's a lot of blurry memories of like the PlayStation 2 era. I can't really remember if there's like a lot. I remember now going to the PlayStation 3. I remember well, Knights of the Old Republic was great. That reveal
Yep.
with Darth Revan and stuff was just, and they're doing a
Yep.
remaster of it. This is awesome. Uh,
Fantastic.
yeah. PS3. I remember the first time I saw uh, Bioshock, like blew me away. I'm like, what is this game? It was like that one of those like seminal moments. You know what I mean? Um, Dead Space. Dead Space has a special place in my heart because that was right when I was out processing for the military. So I had a lot of time off, and I was kind of transitioning away. This is like 2009.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
really, man, just an amazing. I would play it alone at night in the dark always. That was, never played it during the daytime because it was just such a great, scary, kind of crazy experience. Uh, and then more recently, like I always say this, that's the first one that comes to mind when people ask me on stream is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, because it came out of nowhere. I remember I was in
Mm-hmm.
Colorado for Christmas. I forget when it came out, like 2016 or something like that, maybe 2017. But
Yeah.
yeah, my brother mentioned it. I'm like, what is this? And I watched the trailer, and then I was like, I have to play this game. And I played it as soon as I got back home that year. And man, it's just such a touching story, like just so sad, and like the stuff that she struggles with, and just the way that they made the world and the gameplay and the story and stuff just all came together to create this really just amazing experience. And yeah, those are some of the top ones. The 2018 Spider-Man game really blew me away. We played that on stream. So good, just so much
Yep.
fun, and a really great story too. But I'm looking around. Ghost of Tsushima is great, but I can't say for sure because I still haven't beaten it. It's kind of fell by the wayside. But yeah, those are some
Okay.
of the top ones that I've really enjoyed.
Okay, so they're the top ones. Do you have any straight up stinkers that you played it and you're like, oh, why did I even pick this up?
Oh yeah, Fear 3 is the first one because I love the
Okay.
Fear
Ooh.
series. Fear what is it? First Encounter, Assault Recon. First person shooter, but it's a horror atmosphere. Alma, the kind of grudge looking girl who's like a psychic wraith kind of. And I
Yep.
played the first one, I loved it, and then I played the second one, and I really really liked it. And then I played the third one, and they totally dropped the ball. It was not fun. It wasn't engaging. They took my favorite character from the second one, think his name was like Michael Beckett. Beckett was his last name. And they basically make him like a piece of exposition, and then he explodes, literally. Like he gets possessed by by this spirit guy, and he vomits all this information, and then his body can't handle it, so he explodes. And it's like that was like my favorite character from the second game. You just totally just dumped all over him, and in favor of like Frontman. Like the guy doesn't even have a name. The character from the first and third game doesn't even. He's just called Frontman, and he has no story, and he's totally uninteresting. And and so I think it was a different company that made the third one, and so maybe that was why they handed it off. It's like, oh, that was so disappointing. Trying to think of other games. If a game doesn't appeal to me, or if it's not very good, I try to do a brain dump on it pretty quick. But that one left like an emotional scar. I was so embittered. No. Like, how could you do this to my character? And it's like not anything that I don't know of any other gamers that are like, yeah, Fear 2, that's my favorite game. I love that one. But it is kind of funny what leaves a mark and stuff. But I don't know. There were a lot of like Mega Man 1. The first Mega Man for the NES way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
I just remember being just so punishingly hard, like that I just couldn't, every Mega Man after that, for some reason, I didn't have a problem with. But man, that was just so difficult, And GoldenEye, it's not a stinker, but like I now I'm thinking of like things that have left an emotional impact on me. Like I used to go after high school with two of my buddies, and we would just drink Mountain Dew, eat chips and dip, and play GoldenEye for like hours and hours. And you just get so angry. Like I wish that I feel so ashamed. I'm like, it's just a video game, but it's like you get so mad, when somebody gets, odd job and you can't hit him and he slaps you to death, But yeah,
I totally forgot about that. Oh,
odd job because he was shorter than the other characters and he couldn't aim at himself. But yeah, those I've liked most of the games that I've played, and the ones that I haven't, I've erased from my memory.
Oh my gosh! And then now so you've been introduced like. Does stream chat like kind of not tell you, but like give suggestions? We'll say with new games that they would like you to try. So have you found any that you're like, oh, I'd never thought about trying it, and now that I have, it's actually pretty good.
Well, Stardew Valley was one that I never knew about, and then that was the suggestion. I actually think Ellie Bell was one of the ones. I think I saw her playing that, but most of the games that I end up finding out about are from like chat or the community and stuff. I want to play through like the Call of Duty series, all the way through, the Black Ops and Modern Warfare and all the different, iterations of that stuff. Cause that's like something that my community they grew up playing, they grew up playing all the Call of Duties and stuff. And the whole military angle is probably what brings them in to the stream, but I'm trying to think like, well, I've been gifted a couple games, and we played Subnautica today. I'd never even heard of that. I was looking for another game to play on Friday mornings to transition away from Stardew Valley, and somebody they gifted Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, Sub-Zero to me.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like super nice, of them to do that. Somebody gifted me a copy of what was it? Now I forget.
I was about to say, no pressure. They may be listening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I better not say it because then I won't remember who gave it to me. But I've been gifted a couple games that it's just super. Hunt Showdown. I haven't played that yet, but Hunt Showdown is
never heard of that one.
That's like first-person shooter, kind of survival, but it's team-based, and it's got more of like a Old West kind of feel, like steampunky kind of weapons and stuff like that. But that's when Harvey Larvik, another streamer that we're kind of connected, we're kind of associated. I'm going to play on his stream tonight. But that's one of his favorites, Mass Effect. Oh, Mass Effect I never played Mass Effect, and I totally missed that whole train. And I'm so glad that somebody was like, you should play Mass Effect. I'm like, yeah, that's like a sci-fi video game classic. And so we're playing through that now on Mondays, and it's super great. I'm so glad that somebody said that, mentioned that to me. Apex Legends is another one.
Okay.
And I'm totally addicted to Apex now, and I've even, somebody has, there's one of member of our community, Hagabow, has given me, like, he used to be like a pro player, and
Oh,
so he's
really? I
giving me
didn't
like
realize.
less. Yeah, he's Darian Chen is, if you ever want to look him up, but he's like an old school competitive player, and he doesn't compete anymore. But boy, that's been such an amazing experience. I haven't been able to like really sink my teeth into a game like that in a really long time. And I've never been a competitive, like, first person shooter, like battle royale player.
Hmm.
But this one I really like, Titanfall 2, actually, now that I think about it. I never knew anything about the Titanfall 2 campaign. We played through that on stream. Really great story. And then there's like, oh yeah, Apex Legends takes place in the same universe. So that's been another one. I'm so thankful for my community. If I ever have a question about anything, I can ask, and it's really cool. It's great to have their support and their kind of insight. And then a lot of them are
Yeah.
younger than me. I turned 41 yesterday. And so I'm a little bit older than a lot of I'm almost old enough. I think some of them I'm old enough to be their father, which is really weird. But
That's got to be different.
yeah, I dig it. It's just kind of an oddball thing to say, to realize. But I'm thankful for their, the stuff that they're growing up in. It's people essentially don't really change in terms of, in terms of being into certain things because you're a certain age, and the current culture that surrounds you kind of take that stuff in, and especially like humor, the memes that I've seen, and videos that people have shown me. Like, I think they're hilarious. It's just like, wow, this is all right. So this is what the kids are into these days. So,
Nice. Now, lastly, if you want
ish.
to, ish.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of? Now, this is just me personally. Have you ever thought of like getting into like VR gaming? I know it's like a really new kind of thing, and it doesn't really have. I'll say games like Mass Effect, where you have like the fully fleshed out 10 to 20 hour storyline kind of thing. But have you ever
Yeah.
thought about it or done it before?
I've done a little bit of VR. Not like anything like super super in depth. A little bit of the Star Wars Vader, game, or whatever simple stuff.
Yeah.
VR doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I guess maybe just because I'm focused on other things, and I know that there's, getting the headset and getting all the infrastructure in place and stuff like that. Maybe,
Mm.
in
Oh
marketing,
yeah.
I'm what you would call a late adopter. Like, after everybody has tried it and been done with it, I'll be like, I'll give it a shot.
I get that.
So yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, it seems. I've had my own. A lot of sometimes the VR you get sick. But
Mm.
they have I think it's called the Void, which is here in LA. They have it all around the world, but that's the whole thing
Yeah.
where you got a headset and then a backpack with a battery pack, and it's got a whole body sensor thing. So I've done a few things like that are fun. But for any length of time, I don't know. I think after a while, the headset starts to weigh on you. Your eyes start to hurt. You get a little queasy and stuff. So maybe I'm just turned off to it for those reasons. But hey,
That's
maybe when
fair.
the technology advances, and everybody else has tried it, I'll give it a shot.
Well, fantastic. Well, nice. Well, last question that we always like to ask, like, do you have any advice for those who may be listening about who want to be content creators or who want to be Twitch streamers? What kind of advice would you give them? Someone who's just like interested or thinking about it.
Yeah, I would say do a lot of research into the why. Why do you want to be a content creator? What specifically? Try to be specific about what you want to do and why you want to do it, and do a lot of research. Watch people like, Harris Heller and Devin Nash are two guys that have helped me out. But do your own research on do YouTube, like why be a streamer, why become a streamer, or the hardest things about becoming a streamer, and just take all that information in and see what hits you. Because it's there no it's a lot of work, and there's no guarantee of success, and you have to really define what success means to you, because if it's something kind of like amorphous, like I want to be successful, or I want to make money doing this, or I want a certain number of followers, or a lot of times it could be something, like I've had to struggle with the question of like, do I just want people to like me? Do I need some sort of validation? Well, I don't want to get that from streaming. I don't want to get that from being an entertainer or being, a host or anything. Like, I want to get that. I get that from God. I get that from the Word. And I get that from my own Christian journey and stuff. So that's the validation. And so then why be a streamer?
Mm-hmm.
And be realistic. Devin Nash is a great guy for those kind of, they'll give it to you straight, and they'll say like, if it's not working out, or if you're doing this but you're not willing to do this and this, you probably shouldn't stream, because you're not going to be successful. I love, I'm a big believer in supporting people and encouraging people and stuff like that. But I'm never going to say like, no matter what anybody says, don't let anybody stop you, and stuff like, I get that. I get perseverance and stuff like that, but you also have to have a lot of self-awareness, and be able to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. It's okay. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses, but you really got to get, I think, the why behind your the deep, like the hardcore baseline reason of what do you really want, is something that you really, you have to really cultivate. And then, it's a job, in that there are many aspects to it. Like when I'm on live on stream, that's just one part of it. It's kind of like being an actor. I pursued acting pretty ardently for a time out here in LA, and to be on set and to be saying the lines and action and cut and stuff like that is like 10% of the work that you do as an actor. The other 90% is, getting headshots, taking classes, doing meetings, looking for an agent, creating relationships and advertising yourself and try to create an online presence and all that kind of stuff. And all of that each of those are categories that have their own levels of research and depth to them. So you take time with each one, and you try to carve out that space and stuff. So those are like some of the big things that I would say, to think about,
Nice.
There's there's a lot of practical things that you can do, as far as scheduling or building your knowledge base and things like that. One of the things that Harris Heller and Devin Ashley, like, you have to bring something, you have to try to bring something unique that nobody else can offer,
Mm-hmm.
like even within the stream community, the Twitch community and the stream community, like there's a lot of veterans there, there's a lot of military guys and stuff that play military games. And so I'm constantly asking myself, what can I bring? What can I give? What's unique to me and stuff? And that's a whole journey, obviously there's something there to a certain degree, because the community has grown a bit since I started streaming, and Gameology has been a big part of that. Also, if you want to be a streamer, don't just be a streamer, be a content creator. Make content on multiple platforms that point back to where you live stream, because when I did my first Gameology video, I had, I think, 200 followers or so. Once the videos started coming out and I was able to shout out my channel, it's we're like over 18,000 followers right now, so people say, oh, he's a streamer. And they drop a follow and stuff. I don't know if I'll ever see them, but I really appreciate the follow, and even then, the numbers can be deceiving. Devin Nash is a really good guy to talk about what numbers actually mean and whether or not they're important and something you should take note of, because there's a lot of different factors that go into creating success, in a live stream environment or like a content creation environment. So I'm trying to learn all that stuff too right now, so.
Well, nice. Well, thank you so much for giving that nice advice for each of us. And for those who may not know, where can we find you, Israel?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I live stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays from 3 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, and Friday mornings from 7 a.m. until noon. Those times may change, but that's generally the 3 days that I stream. It's My Happy Self, twitch.tv/myhappyself. That's my channel. You can find me on social media. It's either My Happy Self or My Happy Self 2, My Happy Self, the number 2. On Instagram, I got the Twitters, and I got all the cool things, the TikToks. I don't do much with my TikTok, but we got the Pop Culture Field Manual, which is the podcast that me and Cameron do together, the Pop Culture Field Manual, wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can go to YouTube. We got a video version of the episodes that we do there. And My Happy Self on YouTube. Yeah, that's my own personal or, brand, place where I put videos. Yeah, what did I miss? I got the stream, I got the podcast, I got the YouTube. Okay, that's about it. Yeah.
And the socials. Yep, you got it.
Those are good. All right, good. Okay, good.
Well, thank you so much, Israel, for coming and taking the time to talk to us. And as always, everyone, have a rad day.